Okay, welcome to this lesson. We're going to focus on the CSS here and getting all of that just pasted in and described and explained as we need to. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to go ahead and get focused on is we are going to start off with the body element. And in fact, I'm going to just paste a few of these in at a time. Just real quickly, get ready to rock so we can get to the fun stuff, the JavaScript. So the body element has a margin of 0, a background here of white with a bg.svg. That bg.svg, I'm going to show you exactly where that comes from. So I thought it'd be cool to give the background a little bit of texture with these little plus signs right here that you see, okay? So we need that repeating background. And so what I did is I took just one individual plus sign by selecting him, which right now they're in groups. So if I control left click, there you go. Then I made a new frame with the F key like this. And you can see where it says background. I just put that, these two little lines made with the line tool and made gray with a stroke over here, and put it in the upper left corner. And then the size of this frame is just 51 by 51. And it's going to repeat. All right, so you want to go ahead and make sure you save that SVG file as ring.svg. And again, the way you do this, you select the frame, we come over to export, make sure that it says SVG right here, and then click export frame 1, and then make sure you note where you save it on your computer. And then we want to simply go ahead and install that or reference that. In fact, probably not a good idea to put it in the wait, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I was looking at my wrong folder structure, essentially. We want to put that in the public folder and name it bg.svg. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my reference files really quickly. So if I go to images, let's see here. All right. Sorry, 1 second. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to right click, reveal in File Explorer. It's going to look like this. If I go to public, it's empty right now. So we want to paste in bg.svg. Now, since I have this folder open right now, this public folder, I'm going to paste in a few more things. And so that is going to be the various different photographs. So I'm going to paste this in. So we can see if I change this view here to extra large icons, you'll see that we have rings. This is the JPEG file. And this comes, again, from Unsplash. And then also there is slide 1, 2, and 3. And I got these from Unsplash as well. And these are for the slide, the horizontal slider, essentially. So you can download the project files, and you'll see in the after folder, once it's all done, you can just open that up, extract it, and just hop in right now into the final files just to grab these assets and put them into here, essentially. Or rather, I may just have a text document with direct link URLs to these Unsplash images. That would be the technical way to do it. Okay, so now that I have those, I do also want to basically take in, let me make sure I do this correctly, a font folder, because we're going to use a font that has to be that you can't just use. It's not a part of Google Fonts. It's called Geist or Geist, however you want to pronounce that. I'm going to call it Geist, and it's a great font. And so we're going to have the font stored in our project. So if I reveal in File Explorer, this is my other one. This is called font, or I'm just going to paste font folder into it, and then it has geist-bold.woff2 and light. So I'm using a bold and light version of that particular typeface. Okay, so our public folder is looking pretty good. No, it's not. We need to create a new folder called images. And I forgot I needed to take these 4 images and put them into images. There we go. Okay, sorry, it's a little bit confusing. We have our public folder, And then we have our images folder and this, all right? So our BG is an SVG, so I'm not calling it image, so I just put it outside. This is also, let's make sure that we have hands. Okay, so I was wrong about that. We need to take hands, we'll put it in the public folder. There we go, that's where it goes. It doesn't go in the root, it's in the public folder. I'm sorry about that. And outside of that, there is another element that we're gonna need to put in, and that is the GLB file, the 3JS file for the model, the ring model. But we're gonna do that when we get to that point. So for now, this is solid. Sorry that took a little bit of time. I just wanted to get all that stuff out of the way and get the assets all loaded and good and all that good stuff. So in order to load up a font, by the way, we use what's called the @font face selector. And so if I go above our body and paste that in, this is what this looks like. So you just do @font face. The font family is Geist. The source here is in /font, so you don't reference the public folder. This is handled by Vite.js. We just reference, the actual file name, like bg.svg, which is right here, or the folder and then the file name. So we have font /this. Then you put the format is WOFF2, and then the font weight of that element. All right. So that's how you import those fonts, and then we can use it as font family Geist right there. Okay, let's continue on. So we're also taking all the links and just taking text decoration none, color black, WebGL. Again, this is for the canvas element. We're positioning fixed it and all this other stuff, so we're good to go there. Oh, and then our utility of mask overflow hidden. Again, we've used this a bunch of times. Now we have the header section. The header's pretty straightforward. And by the way, I should mention that these initial rule sets, they are for mobile first. So we're doing mobile first CSS design. And that means everything right now is not a part of a media query. It's what basically is going to happen by default when the app loads. And it will be tailored, it is tailored towards mobile. And then we're gonna use media queries like min width in order to make it responsive, and we'll make slight adjustments for desktop and up. Okay, so now I'm gonna paste in the header, and it's just a few rule sets. And by the way, you notice we're not using Sass for this, this is straight up CSS, but because CSS has nesting, and that's typically, for the most part, what I use Sass for anyways. I'm not using Sass. We're just using straight up CSS. So header, position, absolute display flex. It's only a 2-column approach with a logo and then that call to action button. You can look at this stuff as you wish. Next up is the hero section. Let me paste that in. And there's a fair amount of rule sets here. It's not too bad. So I'm going to paste that. So what we have here is we have our hero class, and the hero class is right here. It's the main element that has a left and a right. So we have our main, and then we have left inside of it right here. And then we have our H1 as well. We're using font size clamp for some fluid responsive topography. And then here's our right element. And notice on main, I didn't have to put main here because it's an empty rule selector technically, but we will be referencing that in a media query in order to make a display flex, so that we could take those 2 columns and put them into columns. So the left column in this context would be, I'll show you right here. It would be this element right here, and then the right column is that video over here. But on mobile, I decided, and I didn't really do the design for the hero section in mobile, but all it is this ring will stay on mobile, and then this part will stay. We're gonna go ahead and hide this video here and not use it at all on mobile. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, then we have our right element, and we just have some, we're styling the video right here in the video overlay, which makes it blue with an opacity of 50%. All right, so that's looking good. And again, if we save this stuff, you'll start to see the layout to begin to come together a little bit. We can see our background and all that stuff. All right, so let's continue on, and we have in a section called inspection. All right, so the inspection is that 68-point inspection section. So this is what this looks like. So we have the section. So we're taking all section elements, given a height of 100 viewport height. We have the inspection element itself, which should be right here. All right. And then we have an H2, our ring background. And then again, that's that photograph right here. Let me close that out. There we go. And that photograph is right here. We're just text aligning center and all that good stuff. And then we have our H3, our marquee as well, overflow hidden, details, margin, bottom 10. Again, if you're looking and you're interested to know exactly what these things do, just do a search for this class, details, or copy it, and then section class details. Okay. Now the next section is going to be, let's come over here, is the slider section, the horizontal slider. So we have a fair amount of rule sets for that as well. So let's go here, paste that in. All right, so here's our slider section that we just pasted in. We have no overflow. I've added this. Oh, this is this element right here that I described. Overflow hidden is what gets rid of the horizontal scroll bars. Slider, height auto, width 100%. We have the slides themselves. Now again, remember this is mobile first, so we're not doing display flex and creating columns. The intention for the mobile version of the slider section is just to have no horizontal slider, but the sections rather will be stacked on top of each other. It'll be much more simplistic on mobile. Okay, so you can look at this. We're targeting the nth of type pseudo selector on each of the three slides themselves in order to give them the images that we put in slide 1, 2, and 3. There's also the progress bar, which is just literally a 1 pixel height white border that we will basically tie to the scrub progress of the horizontal slider. We did this earlier as well in the course. Okay, there's also the contact section. And so I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. So here's the contact reach out section. So again, nothing too crazy happening here. I'm just looking at what I've done. We got the top and bottom borders right here. Margins, our H4, our call to action for contacting, and then that's it. So that's all of the mobile first CSS rather. Now we're going to go ahead and just specify the media query, and there's only one media query that I'm using in all of this. So if I paste it in, you'll see what this looks like. And it's not all that much overwrites. It's actually pretty minimal. So min width, and that's what you do if you do, or mobile first CSS design. Anything greater than 768, all this stuff gets overridden. So we're taking remain and we're doing display flex in order to get things into columns on the left and right. And I'll let you look over this stuff yourself, but there's some kind of quick overwrites for desktop specifically. Now we're not just done just about yet. At the very top, also another thing that I want to add is because otherwise I'm going to forget if I don't. I just know I am. Is the loading section, which we don't have the HTML for yet, but I'm going to paste that in up at the top. So we're going to have a div called loading screen. The position is fixed. We have a high Z index so that it's on top of the existing design. A height and width of 100%. It has this kind of light blue background color. Display grid just to place the content in the center horizontally and vertically. And the only thing that's going to be inside of it is a ring SVG file that we then animate with this animation right here called grow ring. So we're using is in and out infinite. Infinite will make it loop infinitely forever. And here are the keyframes associated with that. So it's simply taking our transform scale. We start at 0.7, we go to 1, and then we go back to 0.7 essentially. And then we have a hide loader class which will attach onto it with JavaScript that will take this element right here, loading screen, which is going to be consuming the entire viewport on mobile or desktop, any device, and it's going to translate Y, move it on the up and down axis, negative 100% out of view of the viewport after things have loaded. Okay, so boy, I'm talking a lot. My mouth is starting to hurt. This is what it looks like. Okay, I think I have a class that's missing our layout -WS because there's very little to no white space right here, if you can see that. So let me do a quick search in my reference code just to make sure. I mean, I'm fairly certain I would have included that. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be working. Let's do a search for layout -W up. I forgot to include a couple rule sets. That's why it's broken. So let me get my bearings here and make sure I'm looking at the right section. Yeah, it's only one rule set that I forgot to paste in, and that was the layout -WS. And that looks like this. So the width is 100%. Box sizing, border box, we want that because we're adding padding. And if you don't have box sizing, border box, then you'll get scroll bars because it's going to add 100% plus this stuff right here. So box sizing, border box fixes that in case you weren't aware. And then we're using clamp to create some fluid and responsive padding, essentially, or white space. So we save that. Now we have something that looks much better. Now, of course, there's no animation. Our horizontal slider, at this point, we can't see the other slides because we wrapped everything in that overflow hidden. So typically, like for instance, if I go over here and I simply remove, or I just put a 2 right here because we don't have that rule set defined, you'll see that now we can see all of the slides. But if we bring that back, we will not see that horizontal. All right, so we come down here, and we don't see the borders here because I think we've set those to a transform scale X to 0, I think, and then we'll bring those back with JavaScript. So that is all the HTML and CSS that we need for this project. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty JavaScript starting in the next lesson.